Topic number one, Riley. What do you got?
So I'm introducing a new segment this week, and this one is called Fear Factor. So,
I love this, man. I really
Joe
do. Like, I
Rogan
want this.
and
I want
Ash.
this to get progressively wilder and wilder, where every week there's a new segment with a ridiculous name. I love it.
so Fear Factor, basically what I want us to do is rank the top portal recruiters and the top high school recruiters right now, top five of each. And the inspiration behind the Fear Factor name is when your school is after a prospect, whether it's out of the high school ranks or out of the portal, and you see X school is involved, which school strikes the most fear in your heart right now? Now, some of these might be obvious. Like I think we'll probably land on the consensus number one for high school recruiter slash school. But I think it'll be interesting to flesh out who takes spots 2 through 5.
Still trying to wrap my head around this fear factor thing. And how you keep bringing these great like titled segments. Meanwhile, I fight for my life to come up with something.
You
It's
don't
not
have to eat any bugs, Cart. It's fine. You just lock in. You're okay.
okay. All right, I'm
Okay.
ready.
All right.
Do we
You
want
want
to
to do
start high school
high
or
school?
portal?
Let's do
Yeah,
high
let's go ahead
school
and do high
first.
school. All right, I think number one pretty easily is Scheyer and Duke. It seems like really for the better part. I mean, even it started with K in the 2010s, has continued since Scheyer took over. When Duke locks in on a high school guy they want, they get that guy 99% of the time.
Hmm.
I feel like Cart and I are going to push back on this.
Do you think who's is your number one going to be Hurley?
So here's my thing. We're playing Fear Factor, right? Fear
Oh,
Factor. Fear Factor is inherently who walks through the door. Who are you most afraid of? Who gives you the shivers? Uh, I don't like. I agree that Duke is the best high school recruiting program right now, but I think it's because they just want to be that in a way the others don't. I think everybody else has they still want big high school recruits, but they're way more intent on portal right now. And Duke has not done that. Now maybe we got to redefine this and your definition's different, and that's totally fine. But bottom line, if John Scheyer, Bill Self, Dan Hurley, John Calipari walk through a door, I know who I'm the least afraid of out of that group of four.
You put Self number one for high school? Because I'll go ahead and spoil this. Self is the one who scares me the most with a portal recruitment. Like if Self is coming after your guy who's in the portal, or even if your guy is not in the portal yet, that is like my biggest fear in this Fear Factor game.
if my coach is in a living room and John Scheyer walks in, there's a chill up my spine, right? A chill, a slight chill, a slight quiver.
I'm not
If
even gonna
Bill,
give him that, boys. I don't
if
think there's a chill. I think he's a great recruiter, but no,
got,
like, who's afraid of John Scheyer?
they're afraid of Duke.
That's Duke, though. Are
He
are
is.
we doing the
He,
program or the coach?
he's part of that.
But is this fear
Let's
factor
do
for
the coach.
programs or
I
the
like
coach?
doing it. Let's do the coach, but I'm still with Carter that there's definitely a chill just because he's gotten like again 95 to 99% of the high school guys he's gone after who have more often than not been elite talents.
I mean, last 2 years, just been bringing in crazy talent.
Maybe I'm just falling for aura, and I know Duke fans are going to get mad at me. I'm not denying Duke is the best high school recruiting program in the country. But like I have seen a lot of these coaches in person. I think you guys have too. Like Bruce Pearl walks in a room, and so does John Scheyer. I'm more afraid of Bruce Pearl. I understand the logo that's on his chest, but like he does not strike that level of fear in me yet. He doesn't. Maybe he will.
Okay. I would go the edge to Bill Self in Kansas.
For high school still?
Hmm. I think he did it. I think honestly, now that we're working through this, I think people are lucky that Bill Self shifted to the portal because if he wanted to, if he really wanted to, he's getting all the guys that he wants. He's taking some of the guys shy. Honestly, Shire is benefiting from Bill Self going transfer portal. But like it would be 1-2 for me. I would give the edge to Kansas and Bill Self, but I would go John Shire and Duke 2.
I'm still waiting for an explanation of why anyone's afraid of John Scheyer.
He's
I mean,
not like an intimidating guy, but he
no,
just gets whoever he
get in the
wants.
recruit though. He's getting the guys.
Can we go through the guy? Like, I know they've had good, obviously Cooper Flagg's, honestly, maybe the answer is just he got Cooper Flagg. There you go. Nothing else. But like, if we're going through his first couple of classes, it's like Flip. Like, who actually panned out? We're giving him all his credit for shooting TJ Power and Sean Stewart, who transferred and didn't play. Like,
McCain.
Okay.
Lively? Does Lively count for anything?
Did get Lively.
Lively kind of underwhelmed at Duke in year one, right? Like, I mean, Paolo, but
Paolo was still K.
Paolo was Coach K.
Paolo's K.
All right, maybe we need to knock Scheyer down a couple notches until he sustains it a little longer. But
Riley's going to take that inch to knock down Scheyer and make it a mile.
Okay, let me give you the practical example. I'm Valdez Edgecombe Jr. Cart, you're John Scheyer. You're recruiting me, right?
It's fun exercise.
Brotherhood, Valdez, VJ, you're perfect. Come be the next Caleb Foster. You can host our podcast. And then all of a sudden, a godly man from Waco, Riley Davis, aka Scott Drew, walks in. Are you a little more afraid of Scott Drew, who's like, you can come be my featured point guard, my shooting guard, my superstar, Keontae George, Jacoby Walt? Yeah, I'm more afraid of Scott Drew. Like, let's have the conversation.
I did have Scott Drew in my list of guys who I'm most scared of recruiting high schoolers, especially guards.
And the Duke brand matters, boys. They're number one. They are the best high school recruiting program in the sport. But in a head-to-head, which is the fear factor game, John Scheyer is not with this group.
So you're saying John Scheyer is the Michael Thomas of high school recruiting. He's a slant man.
I think
his slant is saying brotherhood.
And it's nasty.
I don't like.
Okay, yeah, his slant is good. I mean,
I don't like doing this, but I think anybody could recruit to the brotherhood.
Oh, the only pushback I'll give to that, and it's like fake, like we know pushback, is that even like during the Coach K years, wasn't like Scheyer like an ace recruiter kind of?
Yeah, I think he was.
Like he was the lead on a lot of those guys.
But so was Jeff Capel. Jeff Capel was responsible for Zion, I'm pretty sure.
Has there been any Duke staff member in 20 years that hasn't been a great recruiter?
Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith was a good recruiter, wasn't he? Didn't he get like Quinn Cook and those guys?
Listen, the last thing I will say, if you want to put Scheyer on this list, I'm fine with it. They deserve it. I already hate how much shit I'm going to get from Duke fans on this because I like Duke this year. But the argument for me is he went head-to-head with Dan Hurley for Flagg and got flagged. That is the argument. Outside of that, I am not super impressed by anything, even these number one classes.
The non-Scheyer guys, we already touched on Drew. He definitely is up there for me. I think Scott Drew has to be in the top 5. If he goes after a guard you want, you might as well just bow out. Mm-hmm. I think Nate Oates deserves a shout as well. Oates is pretty much getting whoever he wants in the high school ranks. He's also been really good at recruiting guards recently as well. I mean, Oates and Bama just strike fear in me in general for a variety of reasons for what they've done to my program over the past 6 months. But Hurley.
Gee, I kind of see where you're coming from though on it. Like, because it's a different, when you just talk about fear, there's not really a fear with John Scheyer. I fear Duke.
No. Yeah.
And I do fear Scheyer to an extent, but like I fear Bruce Pearl, I fear Oates, I fear Self, I fear Scott Drew. There's a other like list of coaches before him that scare me.
And to be honest, part of this is, I know he's had number one class after number one class. Let's go back through it. 2022, the number one class. Derek Lively was the one big stud. We'll give him credit. And I think even he underwhelmed at Duke. Dariq Whitehead, 5-star. How'd that work out? Flip, 5-star. I think was good, clearly, but like he wasn't what people thought he could have been. Mark Mitchell, he's at Missouri now. Tyrese Proctor heading into year 3. After like, okay, so you signed 5 stars. 3.5 of them underwhelmed. Jaden Shute, you didn't develop at all. Christian Reeves, nada. There's your number one class in the country. Like next year, Jared McCain, stud. How'd TJ Power, Sean Stewart, Caleb Foster do? Like, okay, he's landing great classes. None of these dudes individually are getting taken like first overall in the draft. Half of them's careers have gone off a cliff. to the point they've had to transfer, or to the point that they annexed their family and are now coming off the bench in Utah. So no, like I got to see it. I like this year's class a lot. Cooper Flagg is the biggest reason why, but I like Malawak. I think Khan's great. I think Isaiah Evans is going to be good. The stars are there, but show me, because like I said, if Scott Drew walks in a room head to head with John Scheyer for a player, I'm more afraid of Scott Drew right now.
I'm not mad at that take.
Yeah, me neither. So who do we think is the scariest? Do you say is it Self one, Drew?
I say Self one.
I'm so different than you guys on this. We got to move along, so I'll let y'all take it. But like the person who's by far the scariest person is Dan Hurley. Right now, like he walks in the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm most afraid of him.
I would say Self, Hurley, Oates, Drew, Scheyer in some order.
Are we sure Oates belong? I'm good with the other four.
Yeah, Oates definitely belongs.
You fear Oates more than Mark Few right now?
Yeah, I do.
For high school guys or for transfers?
For high school guys.
I fear Oates more than I think for than
Who are
Few.
the high school guys I'm missing on Bama? And I mean, I know they've had some good ones, but like,
They got Brandon Miller.
yeah, okay.
I mean,
Who'd they have last year? Am I forgetting? Like Charles Bediaco? I guess he's not that.
Guys, Cal has to be on this list still.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
yes, Cal is definitely.
Maybe we boot Oates for Cal.
Yeah.
Someone, I don't know. I'm scared of Nate Oates.
I feel like Bruce Pearl should be in 5, shouldn't he?
I'm scared of Nate Oates in a different way than everybody else on this list, by the way. But I think the non-negotiables are Hurley, Self, Cal for me.
All right.
I think you got to put Drew on there too.
I'm pulling rank here and I'm making the order. All
Okay.
right. Bill Self is 1. Okay. Dan Hurley's 2. Does Scheyer have to be included in the 5?
I'm fine with him at 4 or 5, but I
Okay.
don't think he has to be.
Scott Drew at 3. Actually, no, sorry. Cal at 3. Scott Drew 4. Scheyer 5.
I like that. Oates honorable mention.
No. That's at 5.
I have one bit of pushback on this.
Talk to me.
Yes.
I need you to name me a great high school recruit Bill Self has landed in the last 4 seasons.
Last 4 seasons?
Yep.
Does Johnny Furphy count?
You tell me. Is the guy we're most scared of's best player in 4 years Johnny Furphy? That scare you?
Last 4 years, best high school recruit.
I mean, I got the numbers right here, Cart. Class of 21, 11th best class in the country. The best player in the class was Zach Clements. Outside of that, it was Bobby Pettiford, KJ Adams, Kyle Cuff. Moving to 22, Grady Dick. Probably the real answer here. The best player he got was Grady Dick. Not a top 20 player in the country for 24/7. Ernest Uday, MJ Rice, Zubi Ejiofor.
Ooh.
When was Jalen Wilson?
Before the last 4. Class of 23, Elmarco Jackson was the highest rated player in the class. Johnny Furphy, mid 4-star. Marcus Adams, Jamari McDowell. Class of 2024 might be Flory Bidunga. He might be the best in 4 years, but he probably won't play that. Like it's hard for me to sit here and say right now that guy's the scariest in the sport at the high school level. The portal, yes, but he's not really doing it.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, though, all those guys he pulled were like 5-star guys.
There's not one guy who's a top 20 recruit in the last 4 seasons that Bill Self has landed.
Elmarco Jackson
Other than Flory Bidunga.
Elmarco Jackson wasn't?
21st.
Huh?
21st.
I like how you cut it off at top 20.
Mhm.
Good work. Very good work. All right. I mean, okay, so out of those 5 coaches I just gave you, can you put it in order for me? Self, Hurley, Cal, Scheyer, and Drew.
I think it's either Hurley or Cal. I think that's 1A, 1B. I put Self 3. I put Drew 4. I put whoever you want to put at 5. That would be my answer. I think like we're really just kind of swiping aside Cal. Like Cal University shit doesn't actually matter to these high schoolers still. It does. Like, his classes rock, and they have rocked for 20 years. And I don't know if he'll win with them, but like, shit, we're like, look at who's in the high school class right now that we're talking about, right? Who's Darius Acuff?
Cal might be number one.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, Acuff got the Cal offer. We're all cooked here. Like, that's Cal still has that type of weight.
Actually, we'll let that decide. We'll let that decide who's number one. Wherever Acuff goes, that's who gets to be number one.
He's number one. Okay.
There. That's how we'll decide it.
All the crystal balls are for Cal right now. So for today's purposes, I would put Cal one.
There you go.
I'll take it. Honorable mention Kevin Young, BYU.
Facts.
We got to give that an honorable mention. I just watched Igor Dimin for the first time yesterday, and that dude is disgusting.
He's good.
And that dude's nasty. Do we want to give any shouts to any more portal recruiters before we move on to the next topic? I feel like we sort of covered it. I mean, Self to me is the scariest portal recruiter. Hurley, it's a lot of the same guys. It feels like Hurley can get whoever he wants out of the portal.
Self is for sure one. I think Hurley might be a little lower in portal just because of like his approach. Whatever his approach was this year was weird.
Mm-hmm. You know who's on this list who I don't like?
Who?
Sleepy Mike.
Really?
I mean, it's only been 1 year, but Sleepy Mike might be dangerous in the portal.
Say it out loud, Cart. What game are we doing?
We're doing portal recruiting.
We're doing Fear Factor. And you just advocated for Mike. Say it. Say what you mean here.
I fear Bloomington.
Bloomington's not what's on the list.
I fear Bloomington NIL.
Yeah, that is the real fear is Bloomington NIL.
I fear them. Okay. And Mike Woodson is in hand with that.
I'll give a shout to Eric Musselman for transfer.
The OG, of course.
Yeah.
I got to give one more shout. If you got your eyes on a late ad in early July and you're looking at an inefficient yet intriguing wing, if Rodney Terry and the Texas Longhorns enter that fray, you might as well just tuck your tail and run home.
The obligatory Texas mention, cashing the checks. I like it. Speaking of that exact situation, Kansas State, Jerome Tang, probably somewhere on here.
Yep, I think he's on there. Rick Barnes, low-key sneaky in the portal.
That's good. That's when we end the segment.
We haven't mentioned Brad Underwood anywhere. But if I were an opposing coach, I would be a little afraid of Brad right now. Maybe we need like an international category, but I don't want to see Brad walking in the room right now.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Also, along those lines, Painter with high school bigs. That's got to be like, Painter showed up to my 7'2" kids game. Cooked.
That makes sense as well. Shout out to all three of our coaches for not being present on the list either way.
That's
good on us.
How far down this list would Mark Pope be?
If they get Malachi Marino, I'll bump him up a little bit. He might go from like 31 to 30.
I need to see a non-Kentucky born kid go through the hoop before I give him his real flowers.
Mark Pope and Fran McCaffrey walk into a gym. Who's higher on the fear factor list?
How many siblings does the kid have that they're recruiting?
3, and also Mrs. McCaffrey's there.
Okay, McCaffrey's getting that easy.
So do we have a consensus 5? I feel like we got to end with that somehow.
Consensus 5 for what? Recruiting or portal?
Well, however Riley wants to run it. I feel like I took this off the rails today.
All right. So honestly, I think we should just call a winner for both. I'm gonna do a combined list here.
All right, let's hear the combined. I like the combined.
That's how I feel like doing it. Cal is 1. No, let's stop dancing around the bush. He does everything. Cal's 1. I would go Hurley 2, Self 3.
I think you gotta go Scott Drew 4.
Yeah, I'll go Scott Drew 4. And
that smile is so sinister, by the way. Like he's God-fearing man. Scheyer 5.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good 5.
I'm good with that 5.